Hello! Today we'll study narrative tenses. We use narrative tenses to tell stories about the past. There are three principal narrative tenses that we'll study today: simple past, past continuous, and past perfect. Let's begin with a simple past. We use the simple past to talk about a completed action at a specific time in the past. For example, I saw a wonderful movie yesterday. He didn't call me, so I felt sad. Did he finally find a job last week? In these three cases, we're talking of a completed action at a specific time. Notice that I started and finished that action yesterday. I'm asking if he completed this action last week, or as something didn't happen, it provoked a completed action in the past. In the first example, in affirmative, we have the subject. The verb is in simple past for all the persons. It can be regular or irregular. Remember, you have to study your verbs. And most of the times, we need a time expression, like yesterday, last week, ago, last vacation, last weekend, etc. In negative, we have the subject, auxiliary didn't for all the persons. I didn't, you didn't, he didn't, she didn't, we didn't, they didn't. And the verb is in simple form, never in simple past, because you have the auxiliary. In questions, we also need an auxiliary, did, for all the persons. Don't confuse with do or does, which are for the present. Then you need the subject, and the verb is in simple form. Notice that when you have an auxiliary, the verb is always in simple form. Now let's analyze the past continuous. We have three different cases with the past continuous. In this first case, we're talking of an action that was in progress at a specific time in the past. We know that this action was in progress at this time, but we don't necessarily know when the action started or finished. For this, we need a subject, auxiliary was or were, and the verb is plus ing. In this second case, we have, for example, he was sleeping when he suddenly fell off his bed. We're talking of an action that was in progress when another action that happened fast interrupted it. I don't think you can continue sleeping if you fall off your bed, right? Notice that the first sentence is in the past continuous. Subject, was or were, and the verb is with ing. Then we connect with when, and the verb is always in simple form. Simple past, sorry. You use when and the verb in simple past. In this last sentence, we have my mom was cooking while my dad was reading the paper. Again, we don't know when the action finished or when it started, but at some point, these two actions were happening or were in progress at the same time. For example, my mom was cooking at 7 and my dad was reading the paper at 7. In this case, you connect these two simultaneous actions with while, and before while you use past continuous. After while, you use past continuous. And then we have the past perfect. This might be difficult for many, but it's not if you analyze it this way. In English, the word perfect means the same as before. So, if we say past perfect, we're talking of an action that happened before another action in the past. For example, she had just departed when he arrived at the airport. How long had he waited for this moment? In this first case, we're talking of an action that was completed before another action. For example, she departed at 7 and he arrived at 7:15, so he couldn't see her. In this case, we use the subject, auxiliary had for all the persons, I had, you had, we had, they had, he had, etc. And the verb is always in past participle. Remember, it's the third column on your list. They can be regular or irregular. And we can connect them with when, before, or by the time. And notice that the second action is always in simple past. In this second case, we are asking how long, how much time he waited for this moment. So the moment happened, it was completed, and he began waiting for this moment long time ago. That's why we need to ask with the past perfect. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation and it's very useful for your learning. Thank you very much.